Good day to our Capstone advisor, Mr. Sherwin D. Kison, to the panel of evaluators, Ms. Cheryl Sandig, Mr. Medel Valencia, and to our research coordinator, Mr. Apollo Joseph Capuno. We would like to greet you all a pleasant day. We are the System Rangers and I am Cedric Salcedo, the project manager, together with my team members, Ms. Angelica Cornejo, Mr. Emer Gonzalez, Mr. Alvin Santos, and Mr. Raven Henrales. We are here this morning to talk and present to you our project proposal entitled Human Resource Management System with SMS Notification and Multi-Factor Authentication. Now, let's begin on the discussion of the client and its current technical situation. Our target client is the Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream. It is owned and managed by Mr. Benildo Pasco, which is located at Maharlika Highway, Barangay San Jose, San Pablo City, Laguna. He started the business since 2014 because it is a necessity since he started to build his own family at that time. His business has 23 branches in South Luzon and 9 branches in North Luzon. They can serve more than 500 pieces of Halo Halo ice cream in a day on their main branch. According also to Mr. Benildo, their HR just store and keep their employees' record in MS Excel and MS Word, which is prone to access by anyone. So the next figure explains the existing and current system that Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream has. So in this figure, we will see that the employees will pass their documents specific to their hard copies on the HR department. Once the HR checks the employees' documents, some of the information will be transferred on MS Word or MS Excel, and then the hard copies will be stored in a filing cabinet. Since the information is just stored in MS Word and MS Excel, it can be accessed by an authorized person. On the other hand, once the HR needs a specific document, they will search it in a filing cabinet manually. This process is time-consuming and it can slow the work process of HR department. The sensitive, confidential, or protected data are prone to access and disclosed by an authorized person and leak the important information that the company has due to lack of strong security. Let's now forward to the objectives of the study. So for the general objective, the main objective of the study is to implement and develop a computerized human resource management system for Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream that will provide the accurate, relevant, and timely information in the most cost-effective way. Specifically, it aims to, first, design and develop a web-based system called Human Resource Management System with SMS notification and multi-factor authentication, which will be capable of increasing and improving the security of every employee's confidential data and prevent its losses by providing complete security to the business data by having a unique account to all employees along with the login credentials. It's also capable of generating detailed periodic reporting that helps to monitor the employee performance, payroll, attendance, and other required data, increasing the performance of business by developing direct SMS communication. And lastly, allowing employees to raise leave requests, monitor, and check their records, attendance, as well as their payroll. Second, evaluate the HRMS in order to determine if it complies and meet the objectives of the ISO 9126 standards. And lastly, for the general objective is to prepare and develop an implementation plan for the deployment of our system, which is the HRMS.
Hi, good day. I'm Aldin B. Santos, the QA tester of our team. I will discuss now the purpose and description of the project. The project was conducted in order to assist the HR department of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream on keeping and securing the information of their employee and also to benefit the employees on monitoring their records. It enables Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream to spend less time on clerical tasks, helps ensure the accuracy of employee data, and can enable employees to take a greater role in management of their information. Having a centralized repository for employee data removes the need to store paper files, which can be easily damaged, as well as the need to search through large paper-based employee files to find information. It will help to secure employee and data keep information private so that it can only be accessed by authorized individuals. The system was so-called Human Resources Management System with SMS notification and multi-factor authentication that will improve the performance and security of a business in terms of their data. Let's now move on to the scope and limitation, in which the study is all about the Human Resource Management System, where it was intended for the HR department and employees of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream that will help them to fix and align their data resources. The HRMS has exclusive features to the story generates reports such as payroll, attendance, etc. It has 4 modules such as employee management, financial management, attendance management, and recruiting and hiring. The system generates multi-factor authentication for its security, in which it will enhance the business security by requiring users to identify themselves by more than a username and password, because it was vulnerable brute force attack and can be stolen by third parties. The purpose system is divided into 2 users, the administrator and the employees. The administrators add a login where they will enter the valid username, password, and verification code, or they can use their fingerprint to access the system. They can also add, archive, and edit employee and information inputted in the system with the proper restrictions depend on their role in the company. The database of the system is centralized so that the admin can access and generate reports of the employees anytime. The admin can send notifications to the employees about their schedules and the other announcement of the company with the proper restrictions depends on the role of admin, and they are the one who have the rights to manage and access the overall system. On the other hand, the employees will need first to register or make an account with details to access the system. When the user has an account, they can log in manual or by using their fingerprint to automatically access the system. When they use manual login, they will receive a verification code that they will be using to enter the system. The employee can edit their own records and information and view or monitor their attendance records, employee, and leave requests. The limitation: the system does not cover the inadequate information, because if the company doesn't have requisite information about their employees, the system cannot be properly used. So there is a need to collect, store, and retrieve information before using HRMS. The system also does not cover the human error during the input of the information, so that there is need to check all the information or data before generating reports. Limitation: the system will not run and work properly without an internet connection, because it was a web-based system, so that it is recommended by the developers to use internet connection on using this system. Lastly, only the registered user can access the system, such as admin and employee. Next, we have the significance of the study. The vital result of this study could be highly significant and beneficial, specifically the following. First, Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream. The result of this study will benefit the business of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream in terms of having an advantage to other business, because their business will have a centralized employee communication, increase HR automation, and gain powerful people insights. They can get more holistic view of their business and can be better identify areas for improvement. Human resource of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream. The output of this study will be beneficial to the HR department of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream to make their HR process get faster, more accurate, and more efficient than before. It made possible the maximum output with minimum input. Managers of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream. This study will benefit the managers of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream in a way that they will now access employee data anywhere, view reports and dashboards, and view past employment history of team members. Employees of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream. The result of the study will help the employees of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream to have an easy way of monitoring and checking of their own records and information anytime and anywhere. Applicants of Ben's Halo Halo Ice Cream. The result of the study will benefit them in a way that they will have an easy way to apply a specific job. Developers. The result of the study will give them an opportunity to make a system that can easy the work of HR in every organization. It will also benefit the developers on improving and showing their ability in making systems. Last, future researchers. The result of the study may also be the basis for additional source of information for future researchers who will have relevant research on human resource management system.
Hi, I am here again, Cedric Salcedo, the project manager. I will discuss now the data flow diagram of our project. So let's begin with the zero level DFD of Human Resource Management System. So as we can see on the figure, it specifies the flow of data between various functions of system and identifies how the system is implemented. It consists of two users such as the HR manager and employee. So each user will request first to log in on the system. So once the system was response on their login, the HR will now manage the overall system such as the employee's records. On the other hand, the employee will view and edit on information as well as request for a leave. The developers elaborated the high-level process of human resource and it is the basic overview of the whole HRMS. Next is the level 1 DFD of Human Resource Management System specific to HR manager. So the figure presents how the system is divided into modules. It also identifies internal data such as the login, verification, employee management, finance management, attendance management, recruitment management, notification management, and user accounts in order for the system to do its job and shows the flow of data between various parts. Lastly, the level 2 DFD of Human Resource Management System is specific to the employee. So the figure shows the main functionality that every employee of the company can control. So the employee will request first the log into the system, then the system will verify them through the OTP code. Once the employee user access the system, they will now manage their own information by editing their profile and inserting data on the system. They can also access the dashboard of the system and view the upcoming schedules of the company in order for them to be updated. The system has also a feature that the employee can request a leave in the leave section and they can also view it in order for them to monitor their leave. It also has a payroll system wherein the employee can view and monitor their payroll monthly, weekly, or daily. The employee has a right to monitor and access their attendance. The employee can also access job opening and view job vacancy and the recruitment module. And lastly, the employee can edit their account such as changing their password that was created by the HR manager, and they can also edit their profile such as their profile pictures and etc.
Hello everyone, I am Angelica Cornejo, the System Analyst of the group. I will be discussing here the project development model. We use the Agile model as a methodology for developing the project and it has 6 phases. The first phase of Agile methodology is requirements. In this phase, before starting the design of a project, the developers create the initial documentation that will list the initial requirements. They constructed a plan by studying the current system of the chosen client and give solution on their problem. The developers also gathered all the users' requirements needed to acquire the project or system through interviewing the client. The developers interviewed the client through phone call due to the pandemic crisis. They collect all the information needed to develop the project such as the existing system and problems of their business as well as some of the samples of application form that they've used on hiring applicants. The second phase was the design, wherein the developers used the two ways to approach the design in the software development. One is the visual design and the other is the architectural structure of the system. They define the programming language, HTML, CSS, PHP, and the JavaScript, frameworks and tools for designing, SAMP and MySQL that the project is going to be using. The developers also create here the prototype of the system for designing the software and the user interface. After designing the project, the third phase was the development and coding. The developers make the initial functionality of the system by writing the code and converting design documentation into the actual software within the software development process. This phase of Agile methodology is generally the longest as it's the backbone of the whole process of the system. Here, the developer used the Sublime Text Tree for coding and SAMP for the database of the system. Fourth phase of this methodology is the testing, wherein the tester of the project team spent time on making sure that the system is bug-free and compatible with everything else that has written before. The project team conducts a series of tests such as software testing, usability testing, functional testing, and user interface testing in order to ensure that the code is clean and the business goals of the solution as well as the client requirements are met. Here, also the developers let the users to use the system for testing. Once the system was tested and knows that it is good to run, the next phase will be conducted, the deployment in which the developers deployed and installed the HRMS on the servers and provide the users, either for the demo or the actual user. The developers create a letter for the client for the approval of installation and deployment of the system. Lastly, once all the previous phases are complete, the last phase will be the review, in which the client gathers the development team once again and reviews the progress made towards completing the requirements. The team introduces their ideas towards resolving the problems that arose during the previous phases, and the client takes their propositions into considerations. Let's now forward to the system architecture. This is the system architecture of the project, wherein the human resource management system is web-based system that will be used by two types of users. These types who have different roles can be stated as HR manager and employee. Every user will need an internet connection for them to access the system. The system has different modules and features that can ease and help the human resource in terms of their work processes. These features are login, verification, dashboard, employee management, financial management, attendance management, and recruitment management. The data that will be inputted in the system by the user will store at the database of HRMS. It also has a database backup in order for the business to have backup for their important and confidential information. Every user must log into the system and check if the verification code is sent to them through SMS or via email. Otherwise, the user must use their fingerprint to access the system, and after that, the system will grant their authorization. Once the user authorized according to their permission, users will basically query and edit the database via HRMS like their attendance, leave, and etc. Implementation plan. The table shows the implementation plan of the project, in which the developers need first to make a letter for the approval of the administrators of Ben Halo Halo Ice Cream. Once the project was approved by the client, the system will be installed and deployed, as well as all the software and hardware needed to run the system, and it will last an estimated of 5 hours. After installation, the administrators and employees are assigned to distribute the information of the project through manual, posters, flyers, or social media posting. Lastly, once the users know about the project, the developers, administrators, and the employees will have 3 days hands-on training and orientation in order to use the system properly.
Good day to all of you. I am Raven Morales, the network designer of our team. I will now explain to you the theoretical framework that our team used on this project. The figure enumerates the different aspects of adopting the HRIS and adopting the new process, wherein it composed of 4 dimensions such as human, technological, environmental, and organizational dimension. HRIS is defined as a system which is used to acquire, store, manipulate, retrieve, and distribute pertinent information. The two important resources in organizations are people and information that can significantly affect the overall performance of a business. And the business success naturally requires the management of both. Given that HRIS combines these two resources, proper adoption of the system can drive the organization to greater success. Next, we have the conceptual framework. The developers use the input process output paradigm. The input includes all the hardware requirements such as system unit processor, RAM with 6 GB or higher, hard drive with 250 GB to up to 2 TB, printer, modem and router for internet connection. It also contains the software requirements such as Windows 10 and up for the operating system. Sublime Text 3 as a platform that will be using to create the system, and MySQL for the database. The system also needs some developing tools to be developed such as SAMP for designing the database and fingerprint scanner for collecting the attendance of every employee as well as for the login process of the system. The developers included as also in the input, the review, related literature for the support on how they will create the system. Meanwhile, the employee information will be using for the data imputed on the system to know if it is work properly. Lastly, the knowledge in programming language will also be needed in order to code and program the system properly and according to what is needed to develop the system. Once all the data is inputted, the developers will start the process on developing the project as well as the system by having the concept requirements, in which the developers will gathered all the requirements needed and create a concept and plan on how they will start the project. Afterwards, the data analysis was followed, in which the developers analyze and extract all the gathered data and that will be using on making the project. In line with this, the developers create a prototype of the system in order to have a basis on how they will design and create the system. Once the prototype was done, the programming and coding of its main function will be followed, wherein the developers use Sublime Text 3 as a software platform for creating the HRMS. When the HRMS was developed, the integration and implementation will be the next process, in which the developers create a letter for the approval of the client to deploy and install the system. When all the process was complete, the output will be the human resource management system with SMS notification and multi-factor authentication. Afterwards, the system needs to test and evaluate by the developers, IT experts, and client in order to know if it is good to use for the organization.